Neverending Chain by Dragon Translator. Chapter 34. The Wind Shifts. Scales slashed into stone by years of bitter cold. Movement non-existent as to not be there. Just another drift of snow piled high season after season. Yet it stirred. It shifted. Snow fell. Twin eyes opened, staring at a world not seen for time unknowing. A heartbeat, thumping in time to the wind. The wind a herald, the call whispered over distance. Slight, tiny, growing, pulsing within, tugging, must go, must answer. Wings not used since left to guard, twitching. Talons shifting, scraping, movement paused, memory rising, caution echoing, excitement tempered, stamped down by discipline, by loyalty, by knowledge. Duty undone, unable to leave, unable to respond. Twin eyes closed, waiting, always waiting, waiting for the call to grow. A snowdrift once more, the wind shifting, moving on. Edith paused as the wind rattled the great hall doors. They opened, and stoic, spiteful Gobber and Brynja walked in. The doors closed. One of the dragons, Meatlug by the sound of the shot, relit the fire the wind racing into the cavern blew out. Edith and several others scurried to bring the four men some warm mead. They took the offered tankards and drank heartily. Silence reigned.
"Storms be over," Stoic informed everyone. "We be free to leave the hall. If you find your home damaged, we'll get it fixed right up. Everyone take care as you leave. Storm may be finished with us now, but the snow be piled high and the steps be frozen."
Edith turned away as many around her began to shuffle to the doors. By the set of Brynja's shoulders, she knew their house was undamaged. She would let others head out before her. Let them check their own homes out. She had more on her mind right now. When she had paused just before the doors opened, she had watched as Bainson moved from one side of the hall to another. Stoic had placed him in the jail for 3 days, but the storms had lasted longer, so once his time was done, Stoic had the lad released. During that week, the Vikings had passed the time with song, stories, and games. Hilda, Bainson, Padrig, and the helmsmen prevented the dragons from really taking part in the unintended festivities. Hilda and the helmsmen seemed to realize the dragons were not as they once thought. Padrig seemed to understand the dragons offered no harm if left be. Bainson, however, seemed bent on sitting and glaring at Hiccup, which caused all the dragons to still be on edge. Even hearing the story of how Hiccup and Toothless changed the world did nothing to soften the glare. Edith had kept her eyes upon Bainson, despite feeling anger and guilt rush through her. Edith watched the nasty lad to ensure he left Hiccup alone. A silent way to repay what she owed him and to try to lessen her guilt. Guilt renewed by each telling of the story. Guilt added upon by Bainson confirming what Fishlegs had told her. Of all the memories she had relearned after Gyda returned, one stood out above all others. Hearing Stoic tell his son that the lad had been the worst Viking Berk had ever seen. It had not just been anger at Stoic that prompted her to slap him. She had been angry at herself as well. Hiccup had been cast aside and left to be forgotten. She had cast him aside, and while she had strived to do all she could to repay him, learning he had been told to stay away from meals in the hall except once a day, drowned her in guilt. She had been a mother. She had been his mother's best friend. She stood by Valka even though her desire to be kind to the dragons afforded the woman few friends. Edith knew she should have seen the signs. She should have paid more attention. Edith also knew she had not been the only one to drown in guilt after Bainson's public confession. Those in charge of cooking and feeding the tribe made sure Hiccup received a double portion at each meal. Her future son-in-law took the food with grace and dignity most would never show. Edith was no fool, though. She could see the cook's actions weighed upon Hiccup. Anyone who still had stupid beliefs Hiccup would prove a poor chief should hear Hiccup whisper his worry to Astrid, that his double portion would cause someone else to have less.
Chief Stoic, did you see Trader Johann at the docks when you walked to the village?
The helmsman from the Shivering Shores asked, drawing Edith's attention. The man sounded worried.
No, Stoic said. Should I have?
Edith watched the man frown.
Johann be at Shivering Shores,
the helmsman said.
He said Burke be his next port of call. He should have been right behind us.
Edith watched as Stoic's brow furrowed. If what the helmsman said was true, Johann should have made port not long after they did. Edith knew not how the seas fared with the storm, but 4 days was a long time to be overdue.
Dad,
Hiccup said, walking from where he and Astrid had been sleeping, leaning against Toothless and buried under all the hatchlings and the young stuck in the hall as well. Edith noted her daughter did not seem pleased even as she followed Hiccup over to his father.
Toothless and I can go search for Trader Johann.
Intrigued, Edith walked closer and turned to see Stoic lift an eyebrow.
Son?
The chief questioned.
Toothless is a night fury, Dad. His speed will help us cover much of the same distance between here and the Shivering Shores. And your backup?
Hiccup tilted his head. Sharp shots going.
But not Astrid?
Stoic asked, sounding as surprised as Edith felt. Ever since the betrothal had become official and known throughout the tribe, Hiccup and Astrid were only ever really apart when they slept in separate houses. Edith watched, though, as Hiccup's eyes flicked towards Bainson, who stood next to Padrick and Hilda awaiting their turn to leave the hall. Hiccup looked back to his father, and Edith leaned closer to hear his whispered words.
The dragons see Astrid as my queen. They will obey her should the need arise. Bainson may know the story, but I don't think he cares, or wants to accept it.
Edith watched as Stoic sighed.
Okay, son, Stoic said, but don't go all the way to the shores, and don't be out long.
Sure, Dad, Hiccup said before turning to Astrid and placing a gentle hand upon her cheek.
I'll be back soon.
Astrid glared at Hiccup. You better, she warned him through clenched teeth. Edith hid her smile behind her hand over her mouth. Even though she was grateful this minor exchange lifted her spirits some, watching Hiccup and Astrid navigate their courtship and betrothal did nothing to erase the guilt Edith felt. But these small moments with them did serve to temper it. End of chapter. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed that one. I like that one. Edith is... I really, really like her. I can tell where Astrid gets a lot of her traits from. Anyway, you guys know the drill. Like, comment and subscribe and hit that bell to get notified for whenever I upload a new video. Have a good day, night or whatever time zone you're in. Bye my guys, gals and non-binary pals. I'll see you in another video. Take care.